The Vulcan Vault, along with some very special guests, are on a search for forgotten horror flicks and underappreciated monster movies. Ain't It Cool News presents Ain't It Scary Reviews, a month-long exploration of terror.
Welcome to Ain't It Scary Reviews. I'm John Airy, and today we have a very special guest, Lars Nielsen of the Austin Film Society. Lars, what have you picked out for us today?
Well, some of my favorite horror movies, I like a lot of different kinds of horror movies, but some of my favorite horror movies are just kind of from the oddball fringe of horror movies. So I've chosen, and pardon the terrible cover here, The Nude Vampire by Jean Rollin. Jean Rollin was a guy making movies really in the sort of post-68 era of in France, in Paris. There'd been a revolution. The student revolution was happening all over the world, particularly in France. He made a particularly odd movie called Les Viols du Vampire, also known as Rape of the Vampires.
Meurs. Meurs pour revivre.
And around that time, it became a favorite among the student movement in France. And it was also a surprising hit. Now, that first movie, Les Viols du Vampire, is black and white. It's very unusual. It's very sort of arty. It's an art film all the way, but it kind of crossed over. It had nudity and sex and vampires, and it sort of crossed over and became kind of an oddly kind of commercial hit movie, certainly at least in France. So he got more financing to make his second movie, and his second movie it's in color, which was a big step, and it was designed to actually go around and just play in regular cinemas as a horror movie, and it's really, really unusual and surreal and strange. Jean Rollin was working in this sort of tradition in France. It's a tradition that I don't think anybody else quite had. There was, if you've seen Irma Vep, you may know about Feuillade, who made these sort of silent serials like Les Vampires and Judex and Fantomas. But there was another filmmaker who came along in the 50s and 60s and 70s named Georges Franju. And Georges Franju had made his own version of these. Now, the weird thing about these Feuillade and then later the Franju films is that they were based on things like the Sax Rohmer, short stories by Edgar Wallace, stories that were written for like a penny a word or whatever. So they were long stories. And like they would throw in every little contrivance of like, a hidden doorway or a secret society to just try to fill out the word count, because they were writing for magazine publications like month after month after month. And if you were an undiscriminating sort of reader and you read your serial this month, it's fine. You take those and you make them into movie form, they're like the sort of hidden surrealism just kind of wells up to the surface in these. So the Feuillade serials, which were then sort of remade and recast by Franju, have this sort of surrealism that is born out of completely mundane circumstances, completely mundane origins of these pulp novels and pulp stories. That's exactly the sort of soil that these Jean Rollin films spring from. And so Nude Vampire has secret societies, odd sort of hooded figures. There's, the beautiful young girl is kidnapped, and there's this sort of mythopoetic story at the heart of it. And there's vampires, like just real ass Universal Studios vampires, like tromping around.
Shoot him, Solange. Shoot, Solange. Shoot!
And it's gorgeous to look at. Like there is sex and nudity in it, which I know some people feel uncomfortable with, but you don't have to worry, and I want to make this very clear to everyone, you don't have to worry that if you watch sex and nudity in a film, that it will pursue you into your real life. It probably won't. But you can watch it on a film, all right? Don't feel uncomfortable.
This is Rademont. I want to sell everything, even at a low price. The townhouse on the Ile Saint-Louis, the office building. Do it. That's an order.
And so it would be ludicrous to just watch a movie like this for its sex and nudity, because you can find I've heard that there's sex and nudity on the internet that you just get for free.
I don't believe that.
But this movie is full of beautiful sex, nudity, vampires, and all kinds of other marvelous, wonderful things. The Nude Vampire.
Awesome. All right, so we have the Nude Vampire. Lars, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And for more news and reviews, keep checking in with ain'titcool.com.